Welcome back. Let's look at the week ahead and piece this jigsaw together. On Monday, when we come to our screens, we will have Japanese GDP. They've revised it up to 1%, and we're looking at 0.9, 1% this time around. If that is at 0.9 or more, then that could set a positive tone for the start of the week. What is happening in Japan is crucial to the global economy, I think, because if the yen does continue its weakness, given the vast amount of easing that the Bank of Japan has done, then I think that will set a positive tone for Asia and for the rest of the developed world. But let's see. So let's see where we open on Monday. Otherwise, we're pretty quiet on Monday. Tuesday, we have. It's quite a big week for the UK. Core price inflation on Tuesday expected to be marginally lower. But then, if we look at the rest of the week on the UK, Wednesday is jobs. Now, bear in mind, Carney's done what Bank of England have done, what the Fed and a lot of other central banks have done, and pegged rate decisions on jobs, then this Wednesday decision on jobs could be crucial. We're looking for a better figure. We've had a lot of positive data out of the UK, a lot of big banks and corporate institutions improving their expectations for GDP on the UK. So if this job meets that expectation, Wednesday could be crucial again. The rest of the week for UK retail sales, looking for a decent improvement in retail sales, and that's it. Nothing on Friday. So if we now let's look at the Dow first, and we'll look straight at the pound. This Dow is this is the weekly on the left, daily on the right. Weekly was very weak. However, we are holding the 8, and we're holding the 50 EMA on the daily. So we've taken a long time to grind our way up, and now we're sitting on support at 15,400. If on Monday we hold this we test the monthly pivot and hold, I would expect us to move sideways and possibly back end of August into September start to creep up again. However, close below that monthly pivot, and this is toast. We're going to start testing the 100 and the 200. Okay, but I think put the fibs on the last big move. So you see we're under this support of 15,500. Spent four closes out of 5 last week under that level. Put the fibs on this last big move, and we are holding 76.4. So if we start to drop, then 15,100 is the next target. But this is a fade of the 50 EMA. We busted up through the 50 EMA here on the early part of June, and this is potentially a fade. So hold this level here, and I expect that to move back to the upside. But Monday's close will be crucial. So let's go straight into the pound pairs then. This is the pound US. We have on the weekly, this is massive. It's a decent weekly close. Very, very healthy weekly close. Let's pull the weekly up and study the weekly. Because we have massive support down here at 153.50, which is held, and we've got the trend line on the weekly chart coming across the top on a break of this week's highs. So if we do well, we could potentially be on the way to 160. If we pan out, we can see the major level there is 154, which is only 100 points under where we are. So I would be, obviously there's a 50 EMA here. We've got 820 cross here. We're not quite crossed yet, but we are crossing. So I would look for it to buy 153.50 and 154. So that would put us on a retest of this. Let me think, that must be the 50. Let me just double check on the daily. Yeah, this is a test of the 50. So I'm going to put an alert on there for a test of that 50. at, I'll drop down to 154. That's slightly underneath there. That's all. I can put 154 on there. 154. Okay, so I've set an alert on that. There's major support there. I would love to see that drop. Look at this 50, so 100 and 200 trying to cross down here as well. So I would sit tight and wait to see if that can fall. It may not fall back. It could just move sideways, hold this monthly R1, and then continue to the upside. Assuming jobs is okay. The pound yen is trickier to analyze. Well, tricky from the point of view that if the pound US is going to go up, why should this pound yen drop? Increase in GDP. See the yen ball possibly. But this is sliding down. 15130 or 15150 was the resistance for the week, which we tested and dropped from. And now we're under. We close the week on a low for the week, 14914, and the weekly chart is not only is it failed to close anywhere near the 8, we actually closed below the 21 EMA. So I would stick to the pound US dollar, and I would look for that magic 154. We may not get that low. We may have to buy higher at this 154.30. Euro. I shorted this because there's a major resistance up here, and then took it off back end of the week. Weekly chart is still higher. Didn't breach that 133.50. So we didn't engulf Thursday's bars. I would just sit tight with the euro. Euro yen is very similar to the pound yen. That's a weaker close. The euro pound is weak to sideways, just about clinging on to the 50 EMA. Aussie US, so a decent run up, not engulfed the previous week's bar. This, I think we might start to fade here. So the pound US is the one that's got me interested. Pound Swissy, well, that's the hammer light bar on the weekly. I think that CAD Swissy. So a good couple of days there. I would leave it. I would just leave it. I mean, it is bouncing. But massive resistance, massive trend line resistance just above. I would just sit tight. Pound Aussie has been on a tear. See, that is a buy at 166. Monthly pivot is 167.30. I would very much like to see that down to 166 to buy that. Let's look at the FTSE. We looked at the Dow, not the FTSE. This FTSE finished flat for the week. It finished slightly lower, but we're sitting inside sitting under a weekly trend line, but we're holding the 8. But that's a decent close. If we can break that high on Monday, I would expect that to go back. So UK jobs, don't forget, as well as inflation. On that FTSE, right. Oil is a great chart. So I would be a buyer of oil at 105. Hammer light bar, we're holding the 8, we're holding the weekly trend line. The dips are just getting bought. We look as if we could bust out of that 110. Obviously, that is major resistance up there. I think we at least need to go and retest that 110. That is a very clean chart. So we closed lower for the week on the weekly chart, but we closed very well on the daily. So I would buy a retest of Thursday's high at 105. Let's put an alert on that as well. I would love to buy Thursday's high. So I like the pound, US dollar, and the oil. We haven't looked at the dollar pairs. US dollar CAD, weak to sideways. We're holding this weekly 50, but we had 2 days of lower closes. I would just leave it. Not interested. US dollar Swissy. We had a new low to this move and a close above, but the weekly was lower. Again, I would just leave it. Okay, so 2 charts I like. Quick look at a couple of stocks. UK, Rolls-Royce, sideways. Premier Foods, doing okay but struggling. Let's look at Barclays, because I like Barclays at the moment. 286. It's a hammer-like bar tucked away in the weekly. Look at that 50 and 200 crossing. It's holding its own up there. It's not brilliant, but it's holding its own. I still like that for further upside. Let's look at a couple other UK stocks. I looked at BP for a while. Sideways to weak. RBS. Sideways to strong. Slowly grinding up. Standard Chartered. That's had a good week. Good couple of weeks there. That comes down to 15.55. That's a good pullback for in a trend. In a decent trend. I think I can at least retest 17.75 in the coming months. Let's go and look at eShore. Domino Pizzas we've been watching. Not a good week. That's only just holding on. If that breaks 540, that could be in trouble. eShore. That's a hell of a drop for 310. It is. I am in this, but if we turn around and start to rotate back to the short side, I would have to think about getting out. Tanger, hammer-like bar, good close on Friday. Hammer-like bar on the weekly, so that's looking good. Telly City, hammer-like bar on the weekly, holding our own. That's 850 is a pretty good level. That does look like a potential reversal pattern. Because if we bust up through 900, that's going to get back up to the highs. Equally failed last week's low, and that's in trouble. But overall, stochastics is low, RSI has been low. I think they can do it. Monday needs to start well for the week. Can we get any weak closes by Tuesday? Then I'd be concerned. All right, we'll leave it there. So pound and oil are my favourites, and Traders Round Table is going to be on the subject of negative issues in your trading. We spend a lot of time talking about positive issues. We don't spend any time or very little time talking about negative issues. We're going to talk about negative issues in your trading and how to handle them. All right. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and do join me at the Traders Round Table and the next video. Bye for now.